It's finally Friday.
It's Friday, Friday.
Thank God it's
All right, welcome back to the Friday Show, presented by Woodbine's Twilight Racing Series. I'm Scott Jagow in studio, and Ray Paulick is back at Del Mar. It's that time of year once again. Coming up, we're going to talk about exchange wagering, as well as this weekend's three-year-old races. But first, Ray, we got to talk about what happened last weekend. It kind of reminded me of this.
But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out.
I guess there's no joy at Del Mar last weekend unless you bet on the winner or had the winner. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Arrogate. He was on top of the world, best racehorse in the rankings worldwide coming into the race, and he loses by more than 14.
Yeah, I wrote earlier this week that he didn't bring his A game to Del Mar. He didn't bring his B game or his C game or his D game. I mean, that was an F. That was a complete stinker that he laid. And coming out of the race, Bob Baffert seems like, well, he'll be fine for the Pacific Classic. I don't know how you go from where he was last Saturday to where he used to be. Something was amiss.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been the racetrack. He didn't seem to love Del Mar when he raced over the surface last year, but 14 lengths due to the racetrack, I'm not buying that. He looked uncomfortable. He looked like his ears were pinned back, but it looked more like his heart just wasn't in it. He just didn't want to do it. And it could have been just that day. He didn't feel that great. I don't buy Baffert saying he was short. I don't believe 14 lengths is short. 7 workouts coming into the race. I don't believe that. But something was different, and I don't know. And maybe we don't. There's something we don't know about the horse that Baffert does. I couldn't believe he came out with such confidence, saying, "Oh, he'll be fine. He'll run great in the Pacific Classic." I don't know about that.
Yeah, he was working at Santa Anita faster than he raced here at Del Mar. So there's something weird going on. The race, it was like the biggest flop that I've seen since Big Brown was eased in the Belmont Stakes in 2008. I don't know. Something happened that day. I don't think we'll ever really know what it is. But as I wrote, I think he'll be back. Let's hope. We had 60 Minutes here. Charlie Rose was filming, and they're planning on it at least to do a segment on Baffert and Arrogate as the #1 horse in the world sometime before the Breeders' Cup. If he lays another egg in the Pacific Classic, I think Charlie Rose may say, "See you later."
Yeah, the look on their faces after Arrogate lost. I don't know. There's a lot of pressure now. I mean, I feel like the Pacific Classic is going to be a huge race. With a lot of pressure on Baffert. But I think for the sport, it actually might turn out to be a good thing because more people will probably watch to see how he does after laying this egg. What do you think? How will Arrogate bounce back in the Pacific Classic and win, or will he lay another egg? Let us know with our poll on the website, paulickreport.com. All right, let's move on to something else that happened last weekend.
Abel Tasman, elate, giving her a run for her money as they hit the wire. Abel Tasman has won it by a head.
A third consecutive, very impressive Grade 1 victory for 3-year-old Abel Tasman, also trained by Bob Baffert, ridden by Mike Smith in the coaching club American Oaks. Couple of things here, Ray. First of all, the move she made down the backstretch was vintage Mike Smith having a clock in his head. It reminded me of the Preakness move by Secretariat. He thought the pace was slow. Smith goes around. It was pretty impressive. But then the most controversial part here is what happened in the stretch. What do you think about the move that Smith made to the inside to come up alongside Elate?
Well, Mike is he's as cagey as they come. He's a veteran. He's seen everything. He knew, first of all, in New York, he said these jocks, they rush out of the gate like the pace is going to be really fast, and then they drop anchor. And he said, I wasn't going to fall for that, so I went by him on the move down the backstretch. But what happens in the stretch is another veteran move. They call it race riding. He tightened things up on Elate down on the rail, never touched her, came over as close as he could get without touching her. Intimidation, yes. Race riding, yes. Illegal? I don't think so, and that's the way the stewards saw it.
I think it was illegal. I would not have taken the horse down, however. I don't think he cost her the opportunity for a better placing. What I mean is, I thought it was sort of a dangerous move. I think he cut it too close. If you look at the head-on, it kind of changes the perspective how close Elate is to the rail. I mean, she had to have paint on her from the rail. It was so close. And it was also the way he was using the whip. It reminds me of what is illegal in the NBA is face guarding. You can't put your hands over somebody's eyes. I mean, you can guard them, and even if you don't touch them, you can't do that. To me, this was like face guarding. Just a little bit over the line. I wouldn't have taken her down, the horse, but I would have given Mike a fine or a small suspension.
Well, as the head-on shows, Mike was using the right-handed stick. The filly eased to the left, and then he went to the left, put the whip in the left hand, and he said he was waving it in front of his filly to kind of, to get her to run and to maybe not go any farther to the left. But others might say he was actually menacing the filly on the rail with the whip. Only Mike knows.
Yeah, I thought it was just too close, a little over the line, and that's where I would have come down on it. All right, let's move on. This weekend we have a couple of more 3-year-old races, including the Betfair.com $1 million Haskell Invitational. Before we get to the race, however, it's been about a year since Betfair launched exchange wagering in New Jersey. How's it going? Let's find out. Joining us now is Bart Barden, the Director of U.S. Exchange for Betfair. We've been talking about exchange wagering being around for about a year in New Jersey. And, of course, this weekend is the big race, the Haskell Invitational. Bart, thanks so much for joining us. I want to start by asking, it's been about a year, so from your perspective, how things are going.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me, Scott. So, we're encouraged by the results a year in. We're seeing, growth, double the growth in customers and in activity, especially stuff like the Haskell, where we can expose ourselves to new customers. And we've been working over the year to encourage and educate people on exactly what it can do.
And one point is that if you have a 4NJ Bets account, you don't need to set up a new account to use exchange wagering, right? And for those who don't know, that's basically TVG in New Jersey.
Yeah, and I think that was the one thing when we first came out, because Betfair sounded different than TVG, and I think at first when we were doing this, especially at Haskell last year, a lot of people were confused, right? And we've really worked on the product, the journeys, and you can log in exactly with your same credentials. So if you're playing on TVG or 4NJ Bets, you just go to us.exchange.com and bang, you're right there and able to just sign in with the exact same credentials.
Now, obviously, most of the people watching this don't live in New Jersey, but there are a lot of people around the country who are interested in exchange wagering.
Yes.
So, kind of refresh our memories about and tell us what people have said that are using it in terms of feedback. What do they like about it? What can you do with it?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, it can do a lot of different things, right? You can bet in running, and a lot of people have thought, wow, being able to place a wager during the race itself is something interesting. But by far and away the biggest functionality and feature that people have been excited about in New Jersey is, in effect, the ability to get a fixed odds, or to what we say is lock in your odds when you like it, right? So if you see a horse 10 minutes to post, and you see the price at 6-1, right? And you want to get that price on the exchange. If you put in and get a matched wager at 6-1, that is your price, right? You have that horse at 6-1. So even if in the pool he drifts all the way down to 3-1 by the time the race goes off, the difference between betting a win market on the tote and a win market on the exchange is the fact that price is yours and yours to have. So you would, if that horse wins, you get your $60 return versus your $30 return if it moves down on you.
Right. So Bart, from a big picture perspective, obviously there's only one state doing this, so there's not a ton of momentum here as popular as it is in Britain. Where do you see this having long-term in the United States? Do you think it can last? Do you think you've got enough momentum to keep it going?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're encouraged by what we're seeing in New Jersey, right? Year-on-year growth, so that that is something that we can use as we go out and work to get this thing expanded out into other states. We're having multiple discussions. Obviously, in California, it's legal, and we're working with the California stakeholders to try to operationalize it. And then we're working from a legislation perspective with other states, constantly as we go through the year. Again, I think the especially encouraging part is the people who are playing the exchange are more active in their tote behavior as well. So there was a thought that maybe the exchange would cannibalize existing business, right, of the existing tote. But however, what we've found now a year in, and one of the more encouraging results, is that people playing the exchange who also played the tote, their behavior on the tote their activity is increased as a whole. So even though they're doing the extra activity on the exchange, then their tote activity is also increased. So that is a very encouraging statistic that we found for the people who are active and playing with us.
And this weekend is obviously a big event for you guys in terms of drawing attention to exchange wagering because of the Haskell. What are you offering people this weekend to get them motivated to play?
Yep. So kind of two things, right? So to just get them in and started and try it out, because it's the 50th anniversary of Haskell, we thought a great thing to do is, look, we're giving away a $50 free bet on the sponsor race. We'll give you a $50 free bet. If your bet loses, we'll refund you the $50. And then also Saturday and Sunday, we'll have an exchange education tent. So for everyone to come down, we'll show people some exchange tips and tricks, some exchange strategies, help people get their money transferred over, and just help them through anything and handhold. We have a lot of exchange experts in over the weekend to just try to help people get excited and try it out and just take it for a spin.
Sounds fun. I wish I could participate. All right, Bart Barden from Betfair, thanks so much for joining us on the Friday show.
You got it. Thanks, Scott.
I don't know how much real momentum there is in the U.S. for exchange wagering. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot. I wish there were more, because I like the concept and I think it would be good for the game.
Yeah, can you imagine how much fun it would have been to have in-race betting last Saturday for the San Diego Handicap? Arrogate went off at 1-20, and you could have bet against them pretty good, pretty far into the race, and that's something that opens up some new opportunities for people to play different kind of wagering than the traditional pari-mutuel betting, which is what we've had for more than 100 years.
So if you're in New Jersey, take advantage of your opportunity to bet on the Haskell that way. Speaking of the Haskell, it's one of 2 3-year-old races this weekend. Let's start with the Jim Dandy at Saratoga. The Kentucky Derby winner versus the Preakness winner in that one, a small field of 5. Who do you like?
I like the Russian hockey player. Who is
Pavel.
that? Pavel, thank you. I can't pronounce his name. He's only had one start in California for Doug O'Neill. It was in a sprint. He's going to go to the lead, and let's see how far he can go. This is the race that they're trying to win. I think the other horses are prepping for the Travers. They don't need to win. I think we're going to see Pavel. I think he can run away with this.
Yeah, he's named after Pavel Datsyuk, I think, the Detroit Red Wings player, because he's owned by Paul Redham. He likes to do that, Nyquist, etc. Yeah, I guess I'm going to go with Cloud Computing to continue his winning ways after the Preakness. But, I could see Always Dreaming winning. It's not that appealing of a betting race to me. The Haskell's a little bit more appealing in that way. It's a little bit bigger field, but it's also, I think, a deeper field. So who do you like there?
I love a horse named Timeline. Broke his maiden in the winter at Gulfstream Park. They really brought him along slowly. They never pitched him in over his head. A couple of grade 3 wins, including one at Monmouth Park. He's impeccably bred. Chad Brown trains him. He seems to be coming up to this race as good as he possibly could. I like Timeline to win it.
Got that angle that Cloud Computing had in the Preakness, which is Javier Castellano hops aboard a Chad Brown trainee. That seems to work quite often. I'm going to stick with Irish Warcry. I thought he ran pretty well in the Belmont Stakes, and I think he's the best horse in the race. At this point, he's had that good, bad rotation with his races, and now this would be a bad start for him, according to that. But I don't think that's a continuing progression. I think he's going to get it done. And the storyline is just so good with Rajiv coming off the injury. This is a New Jersey bred in New Jersey. The owner's the daughter of Haskell. It all it just makes a great story. So
this is the ultimate. This is the ultimate house horse.
Yeah, exactly.
The daughter is the owner of Emery Haskell, so that's a good story.
Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Friday Show, presented by Woodbine's Twilight Racing Series. Hope you're enjoying that. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.